Giving a little moment for us to bring all of the platforms in.
We're
And it
good.
looks like we're good.
Good.
Welcome in, everyone, to another installment of the Orange and Blue View. Coming to you live on this Saturday. One of the co hosts, Ron White, NFL. To my right, your left. My partner in crime, Thomas Hall, NFL. Hey, Thomas, how are you doing on this nice and hot
Yeah,
Saturday?
doing good. It is cooking out there, man. It's hard to get outside when it's really hot, but yeah, doing really well. Enjoying the enjoying the weekend and happy to be joining you all on a Saturday night. Hopefully, we have a good crowd. We got it's always good to see John Elway speak about the current Broncos. I know he's no longer a part of it, but all of the Super Bowls except one was under him being part of the team. So it's always good, and people should listen when you talk. So I'm excited to talk about stuff tonight. So I'm ready to kick it off. So
Cool. Cool. Yeah, and we will get to that. But first, let's go ahead and just say hey to a few folks here in the chat. We got Dylan Von Arks coming in here. It says, "Sup, Bronco Country? Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Share on all platforms and subscribe if you haven't already." Yes, again, to everyone, if you don't do anything else, please do those three things. And we appreciate everyone's support in doing those three things and helping us with all the platforms. We got Kevin Gray coming in here. Kevin says, "Evening, Thomas, Ron, and Scott." No, Scott, it's just the two of us, but we will give Scott our regards for you. Big Mile High salute to Broncos Country. DB for life, MHH for life. Yes, thank you, Kevin. Welcome in. Good to have you here. And then we got Mike S coming in here. Thank you, Mike. Hopefully you're doing well on this nice Saturday as well. He says, "What's up, Thomas, Ron, Scott, Dylan, and Broncos Country?" Well, what's up with you?
Mike.
Again, hopefully you are having a nice Saturday, and it's always good to have you here in the chat.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, if anybody's going to be at camp that's jumping in here, let us know. Let us know in the chat because I'm going to be there. Luke's going to be there. So while we're talking, throw it in the chat if you're going to be there because I want to. A lot of you guys have come in here to support us, to talk to us. It'd be nice to actually meet you person to person. So let us know if you're going to go. Really, it's only a couple weeks away. I mean, we're almost there, so it's coming right up.
Yes, and I'm interested, to know exactly what you guys are looking forward to seeing at training camp as well.
Sure.
There's so many different, battles out there, with the revamp offensive line. That should be an intriguing position group to look at, the secondary. So, yeah, definitely feel free to provide us with kind of what you're looking for, some of the matchups in training camp. And we'll definitely be discussing those as well.
Yeah.
So we got Ernie Mays coming in here. Thank you, Ernie. Says, "Hello, Thomas and Ron. Go Broncos country." Well, hello
Thank you,
to you
sir.
too. Thank
Appreciate
you
you
too.
coming in. And, talking about training camp before we jump into all this other stuff, Ron, I actually just put out a show where I had, and I tweeted out the little segments from it as well about the 4 things that you really, as a fan, you should go look for to kind of see it. Besides the, the position battles. And I mean, those are all how well certain people are doing, but as a team overall, what you should kind of be looking for. And that's what I'm going to be looking for out there. Does this team, are they playing as a team? Are they handling that fatigue and stuff like that? So, go check that out. And then when you're there, see if you see that along with the position battles. And I mean, we're going to get into detail. We're going to check out, who's really out there working hard individually, who's doing winning the battle of one-on-one, so to speak, or whatever. But yeah, check that out. So yeah. And thanks, Bigger, for coming in. We really appreciate it. Seeing you here tonight.
Yes, most definitely. And we got Michael Ronquillo, the man and the legend. We appreciate you, Michael, coming in and supporting us. With all the platforms. So thank you very much for your continued support. He says, "Good evening, Thomas and Ron on Orange and Blue View. Go Broncos and buck 'em." Yes, Buckham.
Buckham,
Again,
get your
thank you.
Buckham shirt.
Yeah, get the Buckham shirt. Buckham 3 times, right?
Yeah,
Again,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
thank you, Mike, for coming in. We appreciate you. And then we want to also. Oh, yep.
Yeah, there it
There's
is. Go to
the website to get your swag on.
mmmerch.com. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. But yeah, thanks for the support. Yeah. Michael always comes in with Facebook stars. We really appreciate that, Michael, and appreciate you being here. So throw some comments into the chat, and we'll get to them.
definitely, most definitely. And we got a super chat here from David McGrath. Thank you, David, for the $5 super chat. We appreciate you as always. He says, "Good evening, Broncos country. Ron, Thomas, Dylan, and Deacon Scott. Hashtag 15 days. Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag what I just said, Buckham 3 times. Yes. Hashtag Denver Broncos for life." Again, David, thank you for your continued support as well. You know, we appreciate you, my man. All righty. And then we got Gary Palmer coming in.
Yeah,
With
another big time super chat.
yes,
Thank you,
got the
Gary.
legends coming
Always
in here.
great to
Thank
see
you,
you.
guys.
Yeah, Gary says, hello, Thomas, Ron, Scott, and Dylan. Go Broncos, Buckham. And Gary, thank you for being here. I hope you're going to be at training camp, but if not, I hope to see you at the meet and greet like we did last year. I know you made it out there last year, so it'd be great to say hi, see you, and see you again. And you know, I actually think a lot of us are going to be at the meet and greet, Ron. Like I actually think almost the entire crew, save a few people, maybe. I know that it's hard, sometimes hard for everybody to get there, but most of us are going to be out there at the meet and greet. So that's going to be great. It's going to be great fun.
Yes, most definitely. It will
And
be great.
Keith, my man, Keith Brugman coming in saying the plan is to go to training camp. Got the tickets. If I make it, I would love to meet up with some Mile High Huddle crew. Yeah, it's just going to be Luke and I, from all I know, is going to be out there at camp. Just Luke and I. I'm going to be there for the first week of August for sure. So if you're there with the first week of August, I'll be there. It'd be great to say hi to you, Keith, and meet you in person. So I've talked to you quite a few times here and on Twitter, so it'd be good. But yeah, it'd be fun to kind of kick around your ideas, what you see out there on the field too. So definitely come find us. We'll be out there for sure.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So we want to kind of get into the topic for tonight, which centers around the former Broncos quarterback and Super Bowl winning general manager, our lovely John Elway. So John Elway has recently caught up, yes, with Denver 7, expressing, how he feels about, the hire of Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, and he made some good remarks. So I quote, he says, "I am excited. He's a perfect fit," meaning Sean Payton, "for where we are right now, where the Broncos are right now. Obviously, he has a lot of skin on the wall. He's won a Super Bowl before and won a ton of football games. I don't think there could have been a better fit. I think he will be great." And then he goes on to say, in regards to Russell Wilson in the QB position, that Sean has a great feel for the QB position. He's so knowledgeable on the offensive side. I think he knows what Russ will do the best. Like every football team, we have to try to run the ball and run it successfully. And if we do that, it gives Russell a much better chance to be successful in the passing game. Wilson is such a positive guy. I think he's excited about it. With what was going on last year, a lot of different things, Sean brings in so much experience. I think Russell is looking forward to that coach to put him in the best position to be successful. It was a tough year for him last year, but he's positive and tough. He will bounce back, and I think he's going to have a much better year this year. So yes, that's that was a good mouthful, but coming from the Broncos legend himself, and I can say that a lot of fans are optimistic and would share some of those same sentiments. As far as I think we all know Sean Payton resume. It doesn't really have to be rehashed. He's won a Super Bowl with the Saints. He's one of the best offensive minds that we have out here. So I think with the scheme and then, letting Russell be Russell doing certain times in his offense is going to pan out well for this offense. But also, we know that Elway is right as well in the fact that you have to run the ball successfully because, again, running the football, we know kind of opens up the passing game. So you kind of have to run to set up the pass. And I think Sean Payton will definitely be putting this team in those situations, to run the ball and then let Russ cook, when the opportunity is there. And then I also would like to see, I think we discussed this last time, Thomas, of running the ball and running the clock out, especially like those 2-minute type drills. Ideally, we would want the Broncos to kind of be in winning position to be up and just run the ball down their throats to kind of make the opposing teams tired. So, I love what Elway said here. I mean, I think it's, again, I think that's what we're expecting, that, there would be heavy emphasis on the run game. And then that will set Russ up for success for when those passing opportunities come. They'll be there.
Well, I mean, he's a legend in Broncos country, so it's great to listen to him. But even that said, and I know people have given him kind of a bad rep after, he's kind of struggled in the draft and the team didn't get a quarterback and all of that. So, as a GM, they're kind of down on John Elway. But here's the thing. The things he said, he has experienced firsthand.
Yep.
That's why he's saying what he's saying, right? He has experienced both of these things firsthand. So number one, talking about bringing in the right coach at the right time. He did that as a GM. He brought in John Fox to solidify that team, kind of bring them all together because he knew he's an experienced coach. He knew he had what it took to do what needed to be done after the Josh McDaniels disaster, right? I mean, that team was in disarray, turmoil, and it was pretty bleak. And John Fox came in, and I have my my own opinion of how good John Fox is, to get them to the championship and actually win it and stuff like that. But besides that, John Elway lived that. He knew what he was doing when he did that, and he sees the same thing because Sean Payton is exactly what this team needs. This team has been pretty bad for too long, and they needed somebody to come in and change the entire mentality of the team. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to the running game and the quarterback, he knows it as well because he, for a long time, they had an okay running game in the Broncos, under Dan Reeves, but they didn't have the team around to really execute what Dan Reeves wanted to do. And it wasn't until Mike Shanahan came in, Alex Gibbs came in, turned that running game into the zone blocking scheme, brought Terrell Davis in and some offensive linemen that could execute it. And then he won 2 Super Bowls and retired a champion. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. So people can go on and say, oh yeah, John Elway, he failed as a GM in the end, whatever. This is 2 things that he knows firsthand, what he's talking about. So people should kind of perk up and listen to it. So it does help to build confidence in me going into the season with these Broncos. That I really think that he really hit the nail on the head with those 2 comments. And Gary's coming back in. Just wanted to say that he would love to go to training camp, but he's not in the cards. But he will be at the meet and greet. Awesome. So it'll be great to see you at the meet and greet. Mike, you're not gonna be able to training camp either, but that's too bad. I'd like to meet you too. But hey, you know what? It's hard to get out there. It's not an easy thing to do. It is fun though. I will tell you, it's fun to be out there. You get to meet some of the old players, some of the new players. It's pretty fun. So yeah, anyway, thanks for coming in and saying that. But yeah, Ron, I'm going to get your thoughts on this, but here's what I think about everybody keeps pointing to the running game as going to be like, everybody thinks this is going to be a run heavy offense. And I don't actually believe that it's going to be run heavy. I think they've made a lot of moves to be able to run the ball pretty effectively, but I keep looking at what has transpired with bringing in Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton is number 1 goal is to get a winning team out there. Number 2 is to fix Russell Wilson, which will help lead to more wins. So fixing Russell Wilson is, he has to be able to show that he can do that, right? So he's going to have him pass. But just look at the stable of weapons they have in the passing game. It is, I love Javonte Williams. He's coming back from injury. It's a little bit unknown in the run game, but You have so many weapons in the passing game. I think they're going to pass a little bit more than people actually are going to expect, even after the moves they've made to make it look like they're going to focus on the run.
Yeah, and I agree, Thomas. I think it's not going to be there's going to be a heavy emphasis. Let's put it this way on the running game.
Sure.
Now, I know people like to kind of divvy it up with percentages, and I don't want to be designed to kind of just say, hey, it's going to be 60% versus 40% passing. But it's going to be a heavy emphasis on the running game because Sean Payton in the past and what I've seen from New Orleans, he doesn't go away from it all. But you're right, we have the weapons for the passing game. So I think if the running game does start to churn, you'll see those opportunities there to pass. Because again, we have the weapons for that. We have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick coming back from injury, and the tight end Troutman, and then Dulcich as well. So the weaponry is there for those passing opportunities to be frequent and often, for sure. But I want Broncos fans to just know that there's going to be heavy emphasis with Pirine and Javonte Williams running and toting the rock. But yeah, I agree with you, Thomas. We'll definitely see some good passing plays. And even before Sean Payton came to Denver, it was he wants Russell Wilson to he has a set of lyrics. I think I'm paraphrasing, a set of lyrics, and he wants Russell to kind of do the tune of those lyrics. And what that means, obviously, is that big playability. We know what Russell can do in the passing game. And those elements, again, those are still going to be there. But, I think this letting Russ cook notion, I think, was kind of taken out of context last year. And I think what's going to happen is that I think Sean Payton's really trying to reel him in with more emphasis on this running game so that when the scheme and those play sequence designs are there to pass, he can hit on them.
Yeah, I got you. I hear what you're saying. I just want to quickly say hi to Dom coming and say good evening, Thomas, Ron, and Scott in Broncos country. Denver Broncos for life. Thanks, Dom, for being here. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you maybe at training camp, maybe at meet and greet, whatever. But it's good to see you. Appreciate it. We got a super chat coming in from Mike. It looks like Eddie or Edel. I can't see it for sure. But Mike, thank you so much for the super chat. We very much appreciate the support. And if you really want to get our attention and have us read your comment, it is nice to kind of move up to the top with these super chats. But that's not a requirement. But anyway, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, good evening, gentlemen. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents on Cushenberry. Everyone seems to think he will be a problem. I think Sean Payton would know if he was going to be a problem. Just saying, buck him. Yeah, and I actually wrote something up, and I'll let you jump in here just a second, and then I'll keep talking about it. But I wrote up right after free agency kind of kicked off where they were not making any moves for a center at all. Yeah. They just completely kind of ignored that part of the line. And I said sometimes coaches saw someone coming out of college that they liked, and they think that they can fix them, right? They think, oh, we can fix that player. And Cushenberry has not been, very good. He did improve from his rookie season to his sophomore season slightly. It wasn't great, but then he was in a kind of an matching offensive scheme, I think, for his abilities. But anyway, I agree. I kind of agree, Mike. Like, I think if Sean Payton really likes Cushenberry, they're going to go with him, and he's going to have to step up. That's the thing, is he's going to have to improve. And I actually got my fingers crossed. I said he's going to be the dark horse candidate for the surprise player just because he has to. So what do you think about Mike's comment there, Ron?
Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. We appreciate you. And I agree. I think if Sean Payton doesn't deem the center position as a problem, then, I think, what do we know, right? Again, we could only go by what we saw from last year. But, to your point, it makes sense. And Thomas just alluded to it, that they didn't prioritize center in free agency and nor in the draft. So you have to go by what was done, what the front office and Sean Payton decided to do. And I think, Sean Payton has trust with his offensive line coach that they can turn Cushionberry into something. And again, from LSU, it was the potential was there, right? We saw what he was doing with Joe Burrow, that 2019 LSU team, and he was great. But we just started to see again people getting pushed back in the lap last year, getting off blocks. It was just an atrocity. But I think with this new retooled offensive line and the new offensive coach, that should help Cushionberry. And again, all we can say is what we saw last year, but I want him to do well. I
Yeah.
want Cushionberry to do well. I think everyone wants him to do well.
Yep.
It's just a matter of we still, hold our breath just because we we don't know what we're going to get. But your point's well taken, and I agree. If Sean Payton didn't, think he was a problem, then he would have addressed that. He would have had a higher priority on it and addressed it earlier within the
Yeah,
offense.
and I think the things Kushnerberry has to have done this offseason is get stronger in his base, right?
Agreed.
Get
Yes.
stronger, be able to handle that the push from the defensive line and work on his technique. And again, I can't put everything on the coaching and the scheme and everything. Cushionberry has his own issues, but
Mhm.
he wasn't Butchberry was not a coach's, a player's coach, so to speak. He wasn't teaching that much from what I understand. So
Yeah.
that probably affected him a little bit. But, if Cushionberry can make those changes that he needs to, he had the potential coming out. I was actually really kind of happy when they drafted him. I thought it was going to be
Love
a
that pick.
steal, but,
Love it. Yep.
uh, he just hasn't kind of materialized. But, under good coaching and the right strength and conditioning, he might take that next step. And we got Michael coming in again saying Lloyd Cushenberry versus Kyle Furler versus or Alex Forsyth is what I'm looking out for during training camp. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun battle to watch for sure. I mean, it feels like Fuller is kind of the swing guy, right? He's gonna
Yeah.
swing from guard to center when people are injured. Cushenberry's got the starting job locked up. Forsyth is going to have a massive camp in order to unseat him right away because Sean Payton rarely goes with a rookie center in his history. He did it
Mhm.
once to start out. He had end up having to do it for necessity because Olin Kreutz got hurt. But he likes those veteran centers. So, and that one rookie went with a second round pick that was a highly touted rookie. So it's going to be a tough one for Forsyth, but it is going to be a great battle for sure.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And well, the offensive line is as a whole. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, this is one of the battles that is going to catch my eye to Michael. This center battle with Cushionberry and Forsyth. I'm really interested to seeing how this is going to play out for sure.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. That was a good comment. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And
Then we
Keith
got
is
Keith
coming in.
coming in here. Thank you,
Thanks.
Keith. Nice. Thank you. This is a great question. He asks, do you think Sean Payton will put more emphasis on coaching weaknesses or taking advantage of strengths? I think this is a good question, Keith. I would say he's going to take advantage of strengths. Um, and I'm assuming you're talking because you said coaching. I'm assuming you're talking about the player's strengths. I would think so, but assuming that you're talking about the player's strength, yeah, he's going to definitely take advantage of the player's strengths. Again, you know, using players kind of what they do best and putting them in those positions to win. Obviously, we know Samaje Perine coming from Cincinnati. He was a good all around back, and I can see as an example Sean Payton in certain situations using him to tote the rock, lining him up as a receiver possibly, and being used in the blocking game. Um, Russell Wilson, as I just alluded to, there'll be those times when those big plays are there. Going back to using his own lyrics, making sure he can be, the toot of his own lyrics, having that big playability. Um, two tight end sets, using those with Dulcich and Troutman in the blocking, one for as a pass catcher. So putting players in the right positions, taking advantage of what they do best. I can see him putting more emphasis on that. And if you're talking about coaches, I would also say the same thing. Kind of, advising these position coaches, the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator as well, to look at certain matchups and see where the defense is vulnerable and using the offense's strength to make the big play. So I definitely see a lot of Sean Payton using that, taking the advantage of the strengths in both the coaching and the players.
Yeah, Keith, thanks for the Facebook stars on that. Appreciate the support. I'm going to tell you right now, Ron and Keith, the mark of a good leader, someone who really can help lead, is someone who accentuates the strengths of the people that are working for them, right? When you are in business and you have a team, it is so hard to fix their weaknesses. It is much easier to let them do what they're good at than it is to fix all their weaknesses, because it's a weakness for a reason. These people,
Right.
I mean, some of them are young, they need to learn, but there's a lot of veterans on this team that they've, been here 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Fixing their weaknesses is pretty hard. And now, but when you focus on their strengths, you can kind of hide those weaknesses, right?
Yes.
And even in the scheme, right? If there's a weakness in the scheme, then you can accentuate other parts that kind of hide those deficiencies. So if Sean Payton is going to do his job right as a leader, he is going to accentuate the strength of his players, his scheme, his coaches, because every team has a weakness. Every team does. In this salary cap area, you can't have elite people everywhere across the board. So you're going to have weak spots here and there. And if Sean Payton can use the strengths to kind of hide those weaknesses, then he is going to be much farther ahead than if he's going out there and he's trying to coach away all their weaknesses. It's too hard of a task in too little time. I mean, training camp is short. There's not a lot of padded practices. You get right into preseason. So I'm hoping that's what he does, because I think it's going to be way more efficient, way better, and it's going to pay dividends for sure.
Yep.
We got Lawrence Rivera coming in saying, what's up with Facebook stars. So Lawrence, thanks for jumping in here and really appreciate the support.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. And we got Todd Ossendorf coming in here, agreeing with what we're seeing, Thomas. Thank you, Todd. He says Sean is going to emphasize strengths with the Broncos and exploit weaknesses with the other teams. Absolutely correct. Right on the money, Todd. And again, the best indication of a profound, great leader is doing such, exploiting weaknesses of the opponent and emphasizing the strengths. So I definitely see more of focus being on the strengths, put him in those positions to make those big plays. Then we got
grab this comment. Oh, sorry, you got grabbed, Keith. I was going to grab another one, but yeah, that's I'm going to tell you, Keith, that's one I'm very interested in.
Yes.
Watching Kareem, Caden Stearns, and JL Skinner, because in my mind, if both of those guys, and I mean, you got PJ Locke, and go listen to my interview with Justin Simmons. He talked specifically about PJ Locke, right? PJ Locke being a workhorse and, being a very valuable special teams player. So if Caden Stearns, PJ Locke, JL Skinner, and Delarrin Turner-Yell take that next step, and they have to make a decision out of those four, you may be seeing Kareem Jackson, the surprise, see you later kind of candidate. So I think it's a great call out, Keith. I think this is one of the positions to watch, just to see who is the one that comes out on top, right?
Yes, this is another one. I think from the secondary, this is actually my my number one position within the secondary. And you heard it here first. I don't think Kareem Jackson is gonna make it. I'm just not.
Kareem Jackson's gonna make it. You're calling it out now.
I don't.
It's putting a stake in the
guys,
ground.
yeah,
not gonna make it.
Not gonna. I'm excited to see Stearns and Skinner though. Well, again, we already know what Stearns is, but yeah, seeing him training camp and competing with Skinner, and what I've seen from Skinner on tape was just, whew. So that's going to be a very exciting battle. I'll be watching that one as well, Keith. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And don't forget, Skinner fell in the draft. People can look at his draft stats and say, oh, he's a 6th-round pick. He's a practice squad guy. Skinner fell in the draft because he was injured. He didn't get to complete the training or the the bowl games, the senior bowl games, or it was either the Senior Bowl or Shrine Camp. He couldn't complete it, right? Got to see a little bit of him. Couldn't do the combine. I think he was, before that was maybe a thirdish round pick, maybe early fourth, something like that. He dropped a full 2 rounds. So he has the skill, the talent. He brings the heat. He can hit. Not as great a cover guy, but I mean, you compare him with Simmons, have J.L. Skinner down, kind of, playing that box, moving into the box once in a while type guy if they want. I mean, he's got that versatility to pair with someone like a Simmons. So I wouldn't count him out of the race by any means, for sure.
Yes, most definitely.
I'm gonna grab a quick one here from Dom, because this is the Hall of Fame is I love talking. I can talk the Hall of Fame all day. And Dom's question is, Thomas, do you think Mike will enter the Hall this summer? Mike Shanahan. The only reason I say no is because I think Randy Gradishar is going to get in. He has to. I'm so tired of seeing him waiting. It's kind of like it's like a volcano ready to erupt if he doesn't get in again. People are going to be pretty upset in my mind. I already seen Hall of Fame voter pushing somebody else in the same position, Carl Banks. That should be pushed aside. I think it's Gradishar's year, and I think if Gradishar gets in, they might make Shanahan wait one more year, so they're not putting multiple Broncos in at once. But it's happened before. There's been multiple players and coaches and stuff go in at the same time, so I wouldn't say that it's impossible, but I think that if they see Gradishar's getting in, they might make Shanahan wait a year. I'm not sure. You never know. It's one of those things where it's like you never know what they're going to vote. The Hall of Fame voters do crazy stuff all the time. They put somebody in that you're just scratching your head. When they put in Carmichael over Drew Pearson in that one, Centennial class, I mean, everybody was like, what is going on? Right. But you never know. So I hope Shanahan gets in. He deserves it. I put out a top countdown of snubs for Broncos for the Hall of Fame. He's definitely on there. And they got Dan Reeves on the list as well. I think he gets a bad rep because he never won a Super Bowl, but my God, he went to 9.
Yeah.
As a player, assistant, and head coach. I mean, that was before Belichick and Brady came along. That was it. That was the record. So, and then the surprise for me was Alex Gibbs getting in, man. Not that he doesn't deserve that semifinal status. It's just, I'm surprised, that he was actually pushed into the semifinals. He's incredible. But yeah, thanks for coming in, Dom. What are your thoughts, Ron, on the whole Hall of Fame and Mike Shanahan?
Yeah, this summer, I think it's going to be another year or two. I would like for him to get in there this summer, but I think it's going to be Gradishar, just because I'm with you, Thomas. I think Gradishar is long overdue. Like, yeah. On my list, that was the first one. I was like, he needs to be on, So I would say Gradishar for sure. And I'd probably say next year they'll probably have Mike go in there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's not just Broncos fans anymore that are upset that Randy Gradishar isn't in. There's I talked to tons of Hall of Fame kind of historians and stuff. All of them, not all of them, but most of them think he should get in this year, should have got in last year. They have him at the top of their lists. They're not even fans of the Broncos, and they're saying Gradishar is the biggest snub. So it is one of those things that needs to get rectified this year. It's incredible. I mean, the problem I have with it too is they let these people wait and sit out there, and then they pass away, and then it's like, then they put them in. It's like, come on, let them get in there when they have the opportunity to enjoy that gold jacket. That's what I'm talking about. And exactly. Keith's coming in with another Hall of Fame comment here saying, are there any Hall of Famers on our roster? And if so, who are they? Well, I'll tell you right now, Russell Wilson was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He was going to be in the Hall of Fame, totally fell on his face last year, which may have hurt that candidacy. But if he bounces back, he's back in there, back on that course. I mean, if you look at what he accomplished, you look at his numbers adjusted for error versus others. He has the passing stats. He has the Super Bowl win. He's been to 2. Now he doesn't have the MVP, but he's been to what, 9 Pro Bowls. So I think he has the hardware already. But if you're looking at somebody kind of a younger, less established person like that, I think it's Pat Surtain.
Yep.
If he continues with what he's doing, and I think he's going to be one of those first ballot Hall of Fame types in my mind.
Yep.
What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, that's a good question, Keith. I would say, on that trajectory of Hall of Fame, definitely PS2. You can even argue, Justin Simmons, perhaps. He can definitely be on that trajectory. But yeah, those would be the two, just because of what their body of work has been so far. But yeah, PS2 without a question. If he continues to ball out, in years to come, there's no doubt in my mind, he will be in the Hall of Fame. And I think ESPN just came out with their rankings of the top corners, and he's number one, which shouldn't be a surprise. They got it right. So.
Yeah, deservedly so. I know that there's other, bigger area, media areas like New York that people get pushed and stuff. But if you watch the actual play on the field, he should be number one because he is. It's plain and simple. But yeah, we got a question here, or not a question, a comment from Michael. So we're going to get back into the training camp thing, back into the current Broncos and whatnot, what they're doing. He says the Broncos running backs are also going to be a position to watch out for during training camp. Ron, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think it's true, but maybe not what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is a good one, Michael. I saw this one, and you're right. This will be intriguing as well, particularly, as we get to that third spot. Like, who's going to, between Troy Jones Jr. and Batty and McLaughlin? I'm curious to see how that is going to play out. So that's going to be intriguing for sure. But it's also going to be intriguing, really, to see how also Javonte Williams looks. I think, when you guys go up close and personal, it's going to be, I'm fascinated to see, what you guys come back with, how he looks during the training camp era. But yeah, that who's going to battle for that third spot after Williams and Perine? I'm curious to see how that plays out for sure, Michael. So that is a good point.
Yeah, and from my perspective, the number one thing I want to see is just how ready Javonte Williams is. Right? That to me is number one. Like, if they're saying he's ready and he really is ready, that's a huge boon for this position group. And then secondary to that, it's going to be who gets that third running back spot, right? It's going to be a battle for that third running back spot. And I think if Javonte Williams is healthy, that kind of kicks Tony Jones Jr. out of that kind of change of pace type back, so to speak. So you might see him kind of, fall to the back. But that, finding that kind of change of pace guy, so to speak, to pair with Perine and Williams is going to be a fun one to watch. And they don't have many on the roster. So it's not, they kind of already narrowed down who they want, right? They've got, I think it's 5 running backs on the roster in total going into training camp, which is strange because you want more bodies for the wear and tear, but they don't seem to have any design to bring anybody else in to really, challenge those kind of lower end guys on the roster. They're going to let them battle it out. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one. That's another position group. I think the other one that I'm super interested in really is can the 2 young defensive linemen that they drafted last year, Uwazurike and Henningsen, take that next step and be that rotational piece that they absolutely need to fill out that defensive line. So that to me is another intriguing one.
Yes.
And Mike, Eddie's coming back in with us, another super chat. So thank you so much, man. That's awesome. And he just wanted to give us a compliment. So I'm going to read it. And we appreciate the support and the compliments. I just want to tell you guys that I really enjoy your show. Didn't tell you that before. Keep up your good work. I enjoy your discussions, and go Broncos. Thank you for that, Mike. Really appreciate that. That's really nice to hear, because, we put in the work and we come here on a Saturday, we have to be here, we kind of have to work around our weekends and whatnot. And so it's good to hear. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that goes a long way, Michael. Thank you very much for that comment. We appreciate you. And, you guys are, the reason why these discussions are happening as well. The commentary, the questions. So it's good to have you guys' insight too. So we enjoy working with all of you and having this nice discussion about our Broncos.
Yeah, for sure. And we got to shout out to Howie freaking Day coming in with Facebook stars. Howie, thank you for the support. Thanks for being here on your Saturday.
You,
really, really appreciate it. And then we got Lawrence also coming in with some more Facebook stars. So again, thank you. Coming with a question. This one's a good one. And he says, what do you guys think? Patrick Surtain 2 or Champ Bailey, both as rookies, who you taking? And I have my opinion on it, Ron, and I can go first if you want. I would, and it's kind of blasphemy, right, for me to say this. Champ Bailey, in his prime, had one of the best seasons of any cornerback in history, and probably 2 consecutive seasons of the best ever by a cornerback in history. That was in his prime. I think PS2 as a rookie was more ready to be a cornerback in the NFL than Champ Bailey was. And top of it, Champ Bailey wanted to also play offense, and he wanted to do more, so it wasn't completely focused on there. But as rookies, right, as a rookie year, I think PS2 was more ready to jump in there. But to take them as a building block, I'm always going with Champ Bailey. One of the greatest cornerbacks of all time. Pat Surtain may get there. I don't know. He's his second year. He's going on his third year. I can't say that. But, I mean, I'm always taking Champ Bailey over just about any cornerback in NFL history.
Lawrence, thank you. This is a good question. And, as a rookie, I agree, Thomas. Like, that draft with PS2 and JC Horn, there was no doubt in my mind the best corner in that draft was Patrick Surtain. And, the tape at Alabama just solidified my stance. What he was able to do at Alabama was just second to none. So him coming out of Alabama and then his rookie season, what he was able to do, just go one-on-one with receivers rookie year. And I think, building a team, with a rookie cornerback as PS2's caliber, that would be who I would take moving forward. Again, taking nothing away from Champ Bailey, because I agree with you. If we're looking at body of work, obviously Champ's been in the league a while, and he had those prolific seasons. And I'm a big Champ Bailey fan, so I'm going to take Champ Bailey as far as the complete body of work. But as a rookie, rookie season being drafted, I'm taking PS2.
Yeah, we got another kind of Hall of Fame question. I love these Hall of Fame. I love them. And, come in, and if you really want to talk history, go on my show Friday mornings, Legend of Mile High. We will talk history all day long, Hall of Fame all day long. William Hayes is coming in with 97.5 sacks in 10 healthy seasons. Why isn't Simon Fletcher considered for the Hall of Fame? And I'm going to tell you right now, Simon Fletcher, in my mind, is probably the most underrated player in NFL history. Why I say that is because he had so many great seasons, never once got invited to the Pro Bowl. He had a season, I think it was 93, but I don't quote me on that, where his body of work should have put him in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, and he didn't even get a sniff. People overlooked Simon Fletcher for years. He's never going to get in the Hall of Fame. He just won't, because he doesn't have the hardware, right? Great player, overlooked, had the 97.5 sacks, were the most by any Bronco until Von Miller actually beat that mark. But he held that. I mean, it's from the 90s, so nobody could come in and beat him. I think Dumerville probably would have had he not had the fax machine fiasco. But yeah, Simon Fletcher, the most underrated player in the NFL, not just Bronco, in the NFL, in my mind.
Yeah, Simon Fletcher, I don't think he's going to get in there either. But yeah, you're right. 97 sacks, 2 interceptions, 10 fumble recoveries in that 11-year career. I think he is. Yeah, he's already in the Broncos Ring of Fame. But yeah, getting into the Hall of Fame, I just don't see it happening. But yeah, he's definitely underrated. What he was able to do, with the Broncos, I believe there was one game. I think he had like 4 sacks against Minnesota, I believe, that tied a franchise record. So again, things like that with milestones is impressive, but I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I always go back to him and Rulon Jones. If they played in today's game, they would be probably Hall of Famers. I mean, in this pass rush happy, they were excellent pass rushers. And I think Rulon Jones was utilized in the wrong way. He was a down lineman in a 3-4 on the defense. He should have been a stand-up pass rusher or 4-3 defensive end. He'd have been in the Hall of Fame in today's game. Excellent pass rusher. Both of them are. Neither one of them are going to get in the Hall of Fame. It's just the way it is. I mean, we can barely get, Randy Gradishar in. There's no way Simon Fletcher or even Rulon Jones is going to get in there. Just not going to happen. And Gary Palmer's coming with a kudos to the fans. You make this show rock. Absolutely. That's why we're here. Thank you for pointing that out, Gary. You guys have great questions. We love it. And, keep them coming. And then we got Dom is coming in. One more Hall of Fame kind of question, so to speak, saying, do you believe, Thomas, once Randy is in the Hall, they will retire his number? I don't think so, right? Because they could have, but they haven't done it. And they could have already retired it. I don't think they will. They may kind of revisit that, but Floyd Little his number was retired. Obviously, it's a different. He saved the franchise, so he got retired. Probably he's in the Hall of Fame. So I think Frank Tripucka, they retired his number. He's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know if Hall of Fame is the key to that kind of retiring that number. I think it's what he did for the team. Now, if Randy Gradishar and that Orange Crush defense had won that Super Bowl, and I'm don't get me wrong, they should have. 8 turnovers by their offense is very hard for even the best defense to overcome, but if they had taken that 77 Super Bowl, that might be a different story, but it just, I think the Broncos it's not just how good of a player it is, it's what the impact they had on the franchise to retire that number. And obviously Floyd Little's impact was tremendous. One of the key reasons why they're still in Denver. Obviously, John Elway, I mean, for sure. Frank Tripucka was, someone that came in and really kind of helped bring the franchise, some validity at all, even when they were bad, early on. And then, of course, Peyton Manning, right? I mean, you retire his number as well. So I think that's kind of their mentality. I could be wrong with this new ownership. Could be completely different. They may do that, but I don't know. I don't see it.
Okay, let's see. We can do the chat here. Let's see. So we have a newer name. I'm not familiar with this name, GM Renego. Thank you for coming in. Welcome. It says, sup,
welcome.
Broncos country only. Yes, well, what's up with you? Again, welcome to the conversation. It's great to have you. And then he brings up another comment here after that. Says, we finally have the coaches. Yes, GM. Yes. We finally got the long-awaited thing that should really kind of take this thing to the next level. The coaching is in place. So again, we do have that optimism that Sean Payton's going to turn this thing around. And again, thank you for coming in and welcome. It's great.
Yeah, and thank you for the comment too. I mean, everybody's been talking about it, but it's not just you hit it on the head with coaches.
Yep.
Sean Payton is a big name, but they brought in some great kind of assistant coaches, right? I'm not talking about defensive coordinator. I'm talking about assistant coaches, like teaching coaches, people that are up and comers. Like you're going to see a couple of these guys down the road getting head coaching positions if they continue to ascend the way that they're looking. So I think you're right. It's the coaches, not just the head coach. So thanks for that.
Yes.
All right. I think we're kind of winding down, Ron, in the comments. I think we're going to call this an evening and let you all go back to your Saturday nights. But thank you so much, really.
Yes.
Appreciate the support that you gave us tonight. Appreciate the comments. And as always, we appreciate you taking your Saturday night to come here and listen to us and stick with us, because this show is going to be rocking and rolling the night before the games start coming up. We're going to be the preview show, really, for the Broncos. So stick with us. Ron, say goodbye, and we will end the show.
Yes, guys. Again, thank you for joining the show. Get excited. Once training camp starts and once these games kick off, we will be the show to tune into to look at the opponents, certain matchups and such. So it's going to be fun and exciting.
Yep.
And again, make sure you like, subscribe, share with all the platforms. Go to our merch site, buy yourself some nice old Mile High Huddle swag, and also go to si.com. Of course, there's so much content, articles on some of the position battles, as we were mentioning, some predictions on, who will make the team and things leading up to training camp. So be sure to check that out as well.
Yeah, and just want to say thank you to Mike Ron Q coming in, saying great show tonight. Thomas and Ron in orange and blue view, go Broncos and Buckham. Thank you, Mike, for being here. As always, we much appreciate it. And have a great evening, Broncos fans, and go Broncos.
Go Broncos.